Christmas. Happy to have you along, my fellow tech enthusiasts. I'm Sam Bushman. Jay Harrison's with me. Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't get a white Christmas. Sad to say, no snow for Christmas, but they say right after Christmas it's supposed to snow. So, Jay, I'm just wondering, how do we get tech to fix that? I mean, all you had to do was fast forward snow a couple of days, and we would have been in good shape, sir.
I don't know. We had a colder Thanksgiving than we had Christmas this year, so
Wow.
it's just the way it works out, I suppose.
You had a 75-degree Christmas?
That's right. 75 here in Florida. We decorated the palm trees. So
Were you singing Christmas in Dixie?
we're singing Hawaiian Christmas songs, I guess.
There you go. Does it feel like Christmas when it's warm like that, Jay? I mean, to me,
it does because you got family and you got all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, you get used to it. It's like, it's been very rare where we've had a very cold Christmas, and we've had a couple of them, but it's like maybe 1 in 10 or 1 in 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I grew up in Southern California for Christmas too, so I grew up with not cold, snowy Christmases either. So I'm kind of used to it, but I really like snow for Christmas, Jay. I just do.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Now, I'll tell you what we did do this year that was kind of cool, though. So we've got a sound bar hooked up to our TV and all that kind of stuff, and we got a Roku, and there's like scenes you could put on your TV that are like Christmas scenes or fireplace scenes or whatever. And so they've got like jazz Christmas music in the background and a fireplace cracking and stuff like that. Kind of cool, at least,
Those are very nice until the ads break in. It's a little disruptive.
And can you pay to get rid of those? Do you know?
I'm sure you can if you're on YouTube Plus or Premium or whatever. But most people, we had the same thing at my son's house. We went over there Christmas Eve, and he had a fireplace rolling. But then, every 10 minutes or whatever, an ad would pop in. At least it would do like a side by side, so it wasn't as bad as completely interrupted. But I don't think there was any audio, so that part didn't matter. But it was a little comical.
All right, for us, there was audio and stuff, and at first we're just listening to Christmas music, and we're opening presents, and then all of a sudden the ad comes on, and people are like, what the heck's going on?
It's got to be DVDs or something. I'm surprised people don't have streams or websites where you can just do this and kind of stream it without any ads. Christmas time, I think we can forgive the ads for one day for Christmas. If the guys in World War I can come out of the trenches and shake hands, I think we can not do ads for Christmas Day.
Anyway, I'm just saying I would like, though, a lot of those. Do you call them screensavers? What are they called?
Screensavers.
Really
I think it's a good
right?
term because people understand it.
Yeah,
but it's not really
saving
the
what they're called.
screen.
Anyway, all I'm telling you, though, is that whatever those things are, I think they're very cool. But I think they're not really a high-cost item because they're background and stuff like that. And I think if you made them very low cost, I think people would actually pay for them and not have any ads. And I think that would be a much smoother, better way. Anyway, I'm just telling you, I thought they were cool and they worked for our family really well, and I liked it and everything else. And I don't even really mind if there's ads maybe before it starts or, ads one time in the middle per hour. But, I mean, the ads were quite annoying. It was like TV.
I think the right way to do ads is to product place. Like if you want to put a Pepsi can on the mantle or something like that, you just make it subtle, but you can have it.
Can
whatever.
Jay, you got to put like a gaming console. Come on.
Yeah. Again, you could have an Xbox under the tree, right? You're advertising, but you don't have to. It doesn't have to be in your face.
Yeah, and again, it's just when it's Christmas and you're maybe having on as background music and someone's telling a Christmas story or whatever, and then you're like, an ad. Anyway, so hey, keep the mood up. You can product place. You can do all kinds of cool things. I agree with you. Presents under the Christmas tree would be cool. Or you can even have someone kind of walking out of the store with something cool.
Right.
That they bought that for a loved one or whatever. There's a lot of great, unique ways to do. They need to hire us, Jay, for brainchild.
I remember when I was a kid and on certain channels, maybe PBS or different channels, you'd have, and people were just getting computer graphics. So you'd have these graphics, almost 8-bit, maybe 16-bit. I don't even think so. I think 8-bit graphics where they would draw the screen and you could see it painting, and it would make like these Christmas images of snowman or whatever. I always thought that was cool. You can't even find that really on like YouTube and things. I've looked for archives of that, and I found a couple, but very few, very hard to find.
Well, it reminds me of the super old commercials, though, man. Some of those old commercials are just funny. You got doctors saying, hey, these are the best cigarettes. I smoke them. You should, too. And stuff. It's kind of like, what the heck?
All right. I'm not quite that old, Sam, but,
okay.
I understand what you're talking about.
There you go.
I'm talking 80s here.
We got to talk about domains for a second, Jay, because this is kind of scary in my opinion. Most part domains now serving malicious content. What the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, this is an article that Krebs on Security did. He's a pretty good security guy. You can get on his news list. But he talked about direct navigation. The act of visiting a website by manually typing in the domain name in the web browser has never been riskier. A new study finds that the vast majority of parked domains, those that have been expired or dormant, commonly, and also the common misspellings of them, like say you put PlayPal in instead of PayPal, of popular websites are now
Good place, right?
yeah, I don't have that domain, so don't put that in. I don't know what's there.
I'm just teasing.
Sandbox before you do that. They're now configured to redirect to versions that are a lot of scams out there in malware, and it's something to be aware of. So I think it's another good reason to run a password manager, so you know you're going to the right place. It won't submit your credentials, but just be aware if you finger flub something or you go to a website that you think should be there, and there is a website there, doesn't always mean that it's who you're looking for.
Also important to realize this is primarily, though, Jay, on those registrants or registrars, I should say. Registrars, when you buy a domain and then you park it at their registrar, it's them kind of getting hacked in a sense that's affecting you as the owner of the domain and or everybody else. And so they really need to kind of up their game at the registrar level, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. There's a lot. There's some shady registrars. I was going to say there's a lot, but I don't think there's a lot. There are some. But there's a lot of these cyber squatters. They're just buying up tons of domains. I don't know how they can afford it because domain prices to me seem like they're more expensive than ever. I mean, the average is probably $22 a year.
Like $8 or $7 and $6, and now they're like $20 at a minimum, right?
Yeah, probably $22 I think is the average, and that's not even if you get like an AI. We talked about AI domains; they're 10 times that, or at least
even
5
the
times that.
.tv are much more expensive and stuff too.
Yeah, so I don't know how people sit on all these domains. Maybe they somehow become registrars themselves or something. I don't know, but there's a lot out there.
If you sit on a ton of domains, Jay, and you sell a few for big money, it'll cover a lot of domain.
Well, you're right about that. That's a good point.
So part of the reason, that's why whenever I see a domain that I really want, if it's a lot of money, let's just say that it's $3,800, and I really want that domain, I'm likely not to buy it. Not because I don't think it's worth the money.
But you feel like you're supporting cyber.
If I'm starting a business and it's going to be a big business, hey, it might be worth $3,800. Who cares? It's a blip, right?
Yeah.
The problem is you reward that behavior, and I won't do it. I just will not do it.
It's like kowtowing to ransomware.
Not quite that bad, but yes, the point's the same.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you don't want to reward that kind of behavior. And if you're really going to try to do something with a domain or whatever, I get that you'd hold on to it if it's just not time yet. A lot of times these people are just trying to make big money. If I hold a domain and somebody wants to buy it and I'm really not, hey, I've had it for 2 years and I'm just not going to use it, I'm willing to sell it to people for a reasonable amount.
Yeah, I've done the same. I've sold domains before. I sold one to a university in California because they really liked it, and but they never did anything with it. But
how much did you get for it though?
I think it was like $800 or something. It wasn't that big. Maybe it's $300.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Either way, so my point is that's not really cyber squatting though. You might have bought it, thought you were going to do something with it, and then later you're just like, man, I didn't use it for agenda or my focus has changed, or I just don't have time for it, or whatever. I mean, that's logical.
Yeah, I used it for a blog, but then I wasn't really using the blog that much anymore, and but they never really did it. But it was just enough money to make me move, to say, you might as well. That's more than I've invested in it in the time that I had it. So sure, you guys can have it.
Yeah, and a lot of times to me, it's just, hey, I want the payback for whatever I've spent on it. If I bought it and it's been 5 years and it's been $30 a month, or just say $25 a month for 5 years, so it's $300 a year. Hey, I need about $1,500, $2,000. I'm not looking for big money, but hey, that's what it's cost me to hold on to it, right? I don't want to lose money. All right, I want to know what Jay got tech-wise for Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I also want you to know that there's financial scams, especially against seniors, and you better go to your family. I know it's not a fun topic around the New Year's Eve table or whatever you want to call it, but man, we've got to make sure people are protected. We'll talk about that in seconds. You're watching and listening to the one and only Tech Watch Radio. About tech predictions. We'll talk about that in the broadcast coming up here soon as well. But Jay, elderly people are getting scammed left and right. Doesn't sound very Christmassy or brotherly love to me, sir.
No, sir, not at all. It's kind of a shame. But financial scams are skyrocketing against seniors. Older Americans reported losses from financial fraud that were 4 times higher in 2024 than they were in 2020.
Ouch.
So in 4 years, we've quadrupled the scams against seniors. That's according to the Federal Trade Commission. The report shows that the reported fraud losses for adults 60 and older totaled about $2.4 billion lost to scams.
$2.4 billion?
Yes, sir. There's a lot of incentive for people to do this.
That's hard to imagine, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Investment schemes caused most of the damage, with $744 million in reported losses, while large losses exceeding $100,000 drove up the surge and now account for 68% of all dollars lost by seniors. The Federal Trade Commission warns that actual losses could be far higher due to underreporting, because a lot of people are embarrassed when they figure this out that they've gotten snookered. The actual amount of fraud could run as high as $81.5 billion, they say. Experts offer these 4 safe practice tips to avoid financial fraud. So these are the 4 kind of tips that you want to keep in mind to not get scammed by these guys. Number 1, don't wire money. Wiring money is like sending cash. Once you send it, you usually can't get it back. And number 2, don't pay with gift cards, because gift cards give scammers instant control of the money. In fact, to me, that's one of the biggest red flags. If anybody, like the IRS, is asking you to pay in gift cards, you really should know better.
Would they do that?
Exactly. Number 3, don't pay in cryptocurrency. The currency lacks legal protections and is difficult to reverse. It's just like cash again. I mean, once you send it, unless they send it back, you're not getting it back. You can't just reverse that around like you can with, maybe Zelle or PayPal or something like that. Well, maybe not even Zelle, actually.
I wonder, though, how often, Jay, and this is a question, I don't know if it's in the article, but I really wonder, when this happens and they do report it, which, by the way, I'm really recommending people do report it. Because when you report it, several things happen. One, you get help from banks and from other institutions and from the government and everything to get your money back. A lot of times there are FDI insurance kind of things and stuff like that, and some of that can help. Banks have some latitude to, refund you and everything. But what it really does is helps the banks kind of watch for this kind of weird transaction.
That's right.
If a big transaction like these ones you mentioned, over $100,000 or whatever, it's like, hey, you know what? That ought to be stopped just routinely and say, hey, is this really real? Is it, let's call somebody, make sure they put in, I don't know, some security mechanisms or whatever, 2-3 factor, whatever, protection. All I'm saying is I think a lot of these could be solved if the banks and the different partners are kind of clued in on this by the consumer. So the first thing I'd recommend you teach your elderly loved ones, and you young people too, anybody, hey, if there's any big transaction, first you got to question it and say, hey, that's rare. Is it really real? Right?
Right.
I think that's where we start with that, Jay, and I think then the education can go from there. If it's something out of the ordinary, if it's something that seems too good to be true, if it's a large amount, if it's a strange place that it's being sent to, if it's a strange ask, like you mentioned, hey, send the IRS gift cards. But you think the IRS is really going to use gift cards?
No.
The IRS is just going to pass out to all their employees, hey, you got a gift card for Christmas because we took it from Larry. Okay, I'm just saying. So you can watch for these things.
If the IRS wants money, they're just going to dip it right out of your account, really.
That's right, for sure. The other thing is you're going to know about it, though. You're going to be
they're going to send you letters
through multiple channels, letters, and right. If it's a weird place that money's being sent to, if it's a weird ask for timing, meaning that it's Christmas Day and they're asking me to send them money.
Yeah.
Okay, come on now. So it's weird timing, right? Weird places to send money.
Urgency.
If it's an emergency, urgency or an emergency. Hey, this has to happen right now because of this, and I'm just telling you, all those things are serious red flags. And your best bet is, especially if it comes from online or email or something, go back to your original source. If it's your bank, for example, go back to the back of your credit card that's in your hand and call that number. Or call the local branch, manager that you happen to know that you set your bank up through. Or, in other words, call the insurance company or whatever from a number that you know is legitimately tied to your insurance company. Always follow up with some secondary, confirmed, legitimate line of communication. And I'm just telling you, if you did the things that I just mentioned, 90% of this would stop, Jay.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to what you said about reporting it, another really good aspect of that is sometimes you need to have that police report or that proof that you have been scammed if you're going to get some help from a bank, because a lot of times it's just at their discretion whether they're going to help you or not. So you do want to get that on record that you did report it and that it was a problem and it's official, so to speak.
Documentation, and then whoever's auditing this, criminal transaction, I'm trying to think of the best words to use here, the criminal transaction, then they can put these things in their file and say, yes, I did give, Frank his money back because, he's elderly, this happened, this is what he did, he followed the proper procedure. They can put all the stuff in their file on it, and then they can, a lot of times refund the money or reverse transactions and things like that. So there's a lot that can really be done, and the worst thing you can do is be embarrassed and not report it or not do anything about it, because then you're just enabling this to happen again for all kinds of other people. It's not only about you got scammed, but think about your neighbor, your loved ones, anybody around. Hey, your goal is to not let them get scammed too down the road, right?
Exactly. They can't prosecute the crimes that are underreported or not reported at all. So we want to stop this as much as we possibly can.
Any other tips, Jay?
Last one is number 4, which is research all possible business entities and business partners, because a lot of these big dollar things are people getting into bad investments. And so if you don't just invest in something because so-and-so said something or somebody has some insider thing, a lot of those too good to be true things are actually too good to be true.
Other things too. Don't try to, if you're like wanting to, do stocks or something, don't start day trading on your own, or don't start buying and selling stocks on your own or through this place that, promises to be really, really, really cheap to do the trades. Or find a good, legitimate financial advisor. Find somebody who conduct these trades for you. Yes, it's a little more expensive, but I'm telling you, these people have fiduciary responsibilities to make sure that everything is on the up and up and clear. They have a lot of guidelines and rules. Even when I was a mortgage broker and I was insurance licensed, I wasn't even really in a lot of these financial transactions that require a ton of licensing, more than just a license to be a mortgage broker. But we had all kinds of rules and guidelines of things we couldn't do and things we had to do and things we had to document and how it needed to go down. And when you get into a lot of these higher financial instruments and stuff, people have all kinds of these licenses where, hey, they've got all their thumbprints and fingerprints and palm prints and all at the FBI just to have these licenses. And so when you go through a lot of those licensed people, you're buying yourself a serious amount of protection. And you can say, oh, well, it's more expensive. Yeah, but it's better than getting ripped off $100,000, people. And 100%. So I'm just saying there's some protections built in if you're smart, Jay.
Absolutely. And it's smart to take advantage of that stuff, and just be cautious and be careful out there. Protect your money.
If you're a younger person and you have elderly loved ones, you need to go to them and say, listen, I'm not trying to pry into your finances. I know you're independent. I don't mean to act like you're not. But look, it's a modern, crazy world out there full of scams and technical details. It might be smart for someone that's younger to kind of keep an eye on things, or even teach your elderly loved ones, hey, you know what? Call me if there's anything, out of the day-to-day. Just
or even
that way. Anything out of the day-to-day, and just call me, and let's just look over it and make sure that everything's cool before you do things.
And maybe even get yourself, let's say if it's your parents, get yourself put on that account at least as somebody that kind of needs to be consulted before a big transaction happens, or kind of a second factor to say, yeah, this is cool. And that way you can kind of audit that stuff and at least be there to help.
Parents are hesitant to do that. They're like, look, I'm not going to let my kid, control my finances. It's not about control. It's about, secondary eyes or something, to just look over and make sure things are good. And
you got to make sure it's a trusted person.
Amen to that. All right. Anyway, enough of that. We don't mean to just be downers for Christmas, but we wanted to highlight that because it's really important. And when these are cranking up, we feel an obligation to make sure you think about this and that you're protected and that you check with your family members and loved ones. And it's all good reminders. Even if you just sit down at the dinner table and say, hey, man, there's a lot of scams out there lately, guys. Just make sure if anything comes your way that's weird that you're, on alert. Even that makes a lot of difference, Jay. It's something simple. It's not controlling anybody. It's just a, hey, reminder, a heads up. Hey, this is going on. Be careful out there. Even that can stop a lot of these.
Yeah, and not just for seniors. It's for everybody. I mean, it's a good reminder for everyone.
Of course. All right, there you have it. This is weird, Jay, this story, but I want to cover it and I want to get your take on it, and I'll tell you my take too. Amazon predicts the end of the traditional smartphone app era. Yeah, Amazon's top device, it's a device executive, devices executive. I don't really know what that is, but there you go. He says the age of tapping apps on phones may be nearing its end. Why? Because they say artificial intelligence is reshaping how people react and interact with technology. According to this guy, how do you say his name? Panos Panay?
That's as good as any, I guess.
Anyway, he's the head of Amazon Devices and Services. He says younger users are increasingly using ambient intelligence, so just AI, I guess, that works behind the scenes, responds to voice commands. It deals with everyday life without screens or apps of any kind. He envisions technology where tasks and information are delivered through assistants like Alexa, reducing reliance on phones and apps entirely. This shift, they say, reflects broader trends in AI and changing user expectations. They say these things will be more voice-driven, more context-aware, etc. You think he's right, Jay?
No, I don't.
No?
I think that, Amazon, they made a lot of predictions. They predicted that they would be a third player and make significant marks between Android and iOS, and that never happened. They had their own phone, and it didn't go anywhere. Now, do I think that some of this will happen and we'll see this? Yes. Do I think it's going to undo and unseat apps on smartphones in any time in the near future or at all? No, I don't. I think that's just, that's headline prediction kind of stuff. That's how you make a headline and get some traction on it.
Yeah. And that way, hey, Amazon and Alexa's at the center of it right when they're launching their new updated Alexa Smart Plus app. So,
well, Alexa's not this smart yet. So why are we... why aren't they focusing on that right now?
Have you been playing with Alexa Plus, Jay?
No, I have not played with it. You have to pay for Alexa Plus, right?
No. If you have Amazon Prime, you get Alexa Plus free now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Whether it stays that way or not is yet to be seen.
But I have an Alexa Dot over here. I need to hook that thing back up.
You got to hook that dude back up, and then it'll offer you to update to Plus. And when you do, it's free for a while, and it is a lot better. I'll be the first to admit that. When we get back to the pause, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on this because I think Jay's half right, and I think this other guy's half right. Of course, I'll probably be only at 10% right, but we'll see. Anyway, kind of interesting, strange stuff. There's going to be changes in tech. That's a given. What and how and where is the question, right? Hold on. TechWatch Radio and TV continues in seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking tech predictions. The guy over at Amazon, Alexa and Company, the guy over at Devices, he's the executive over Devices. He says, hey, man, things are going to change. You're not going to have apps on your phone. It's all going to be voice-driven, AI, Alexa, and everything else. I think he's half right, Jay, and I think you're half right. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. All these transactions or changes take time. It just doesn't happen when you wake up tomorrow. Okay?
Right.
So that's kind of the first point you're making about, hey, these kind of salacious or whatever you want to call them headlines, they're just not, they make you think it's just like, hey, man, when you wake up on New Year's Day, it's going to, no. It's going to be several years in the reality. However, I do think things are shifting away from general smartphone applications. I really do. Because everybody's sick of downloading and installing and paying for and interacting with so many apps. I'll just give you a quick example. We don't go to McDonald's a lot, but when we go, hey, they always, have deals on their app.
Right.
But every time I go there, man, I got my app and I get it and then I press it and I'm in the line and then the stupid thing needs to upgrade. So I upgrade the app and then, my gosh, now what was my password for how come my password doesn't work? I got, but then by the time they're just like, order your Big Mac already. So by the time I get done, I'm like, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got to make it a lot easier. And people are kind of sick of upgrading apps and dealing with that all the time. And
that's supposed to all be transparent.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so, I understand why McDonald's wants an app. And I understand why they'd even want it tied to maybe an email address or something. They want to collect some, personal data so they can develop trends and, what people are doing and how often things are being used. I understand some of the general analytic stuff. But giving me a password for a McDonald's app, what for?
Right. And
why do I have to have a password for that, Jay?
I agree, because you're just going to authenticate through your email or your cell phone number or some third-party thing anyway when you forget it. In fact, a lot of people who don't use password managers use that forgot password as their authenticator.
Yeah. Anyway, so it just takes time. So the other problem that I have with these apps is that, they're difficult. If there's a bug, you're kind of stuck with it unless you upgrade. People are hesitant to upgrade. Well, they're moving towards these progressive web apps, Jay. I don't remember the exact term for them. I think they're called progressive web apps.
Well, that's where you're just pointing at a website, right, as an app, sort of.
Kind of. You're pointing at a website, but you're also giving it a browser. Let me try to say it differently. You're creating a browser app experience, so it launches in its own kind of little browser, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's separate from your regular browser. So it's protected more and it's faster, and there's a lot of pluses to it and everything. But anyway, people are starting to go to that, and I've got some family of mine that are web developers and everything, and they're developing apps. They were going to create a website version of their software. It's a gaming software. And then they were going to create an app. And then they're like, why would we create an app? Why don't we just create this web progressive app and make our website mobile friendly? And anyway, they're kind of doing that more. And they feel like it's really good and it works great. And now, Jay, you don't have to update an app at all. There's no app to update on their thing.
Yeah,
right?
But I think people have been working on that for 10 years or more now. And we still don't. We still see individual apps written in Rust or whatever running on iPhone and Android.
They'll be around for a long time, but I'm just telling you, over time, just like your desktop apps now, everything is SaaSware, so to speak, software as a service. And I'm telling you, they're going to move towards these web progressive apps that really can kind of help people not have to upgrade, not have to have the latest. It just always works. And if we have a bug fix, we fix it. And the next time you go there, it just works. And there's also a new term called WebView 2 apps. That are kind of similar to that. They've got more even functionality than that. Those are coming on. So the point is that plus these voice assistants like this, Amazon guy was talking about, there's going to be more and more and more automation where things happen for you and you'll get a prompt or you'll get a voice command and a lot of things will be done for you. Even OpenAI is adding a lot of these apps behind the scenes now. And you can, if you have an account on ChatGPT or whatever, you can click and install these apps. Then you can, ask it to do things, and it can use those apps to accomplish these tasks. And so I think things are going in the direction he's talking about, but I don't think it'll be happening overnight. I think it'll take quite a bit for it to happen, several years. But I do think the landscape is changing because it's really hard to do things on your cell phone a lot of times too, Jay.
Yeah, and I think that there can be promise and some goodness to this if it works out, but I just don't think we're at a level of trust, at least I'm not with AI right now, to be able to do that. I mean, this guy from Amazon's talking about basically just having an agent, and you would say, you just open your phone or turn on your agent or whatever and say, hey, order me a cheeseburger from the McDonald's in Salt Lake or whatever, and it would just know. Use my credit card and everything. Yeah, I don't trust. I don't trust it to do that.
You don't trust it to do that now, but I think eventually you will, though.
There would have to be a lot of confirms, like, are you sure this one and this address? You want to use this card? Yes, right. yes. I think we're a long way from. I think that's a great goal, and I think that's probably doable.
Well, it's like the Jetsons,
I can see
right,
that.
Jay?
Yeah, but
it reminds me of
it's more complicated.
Of course, but I'm just saying that the Jetsons things are just sci-fi and super easy and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, we just want Rosie cruising around, cleaning up the house, and ordering us cheeseburgers.
Amen to that. That's exactly what I want. Well, I'll tell you, speaking of that, though, me and my buddy Zach were on a business trip, and around San Francisco and Phoenix and some of these big cities, they have these Waymo vehicles. Are you familiar with these much, Jay?
Yeah. Like
have you ever ridden in one?
Driverless taxi. No, I've never driven in one. I mean, I've been in cars that can kind of somewhat drive themselves, but not a taxi like that. But
all right, so I went in a Waymo, and we ordered that dude, and it came, and we did all the things, and we got a video of it and everything else. And hopefully on the next Tech Watch, we'll be able to lay some of that out where people can check it out better.
Oh, that'd be cool.
But what's fascinating is right after we did that, and it was a cool experience, it worked perfectly for us. It was incredible. It was weird, but it was incredible.
And so did it have a steering wheel or no?
Yeah.
And it was just driving itself?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And I was in the front seat, and there was nobody to my left. I was in the passenger seat, and Zach was in the back, and we got video of the whole thing. And it
Could
worked
you just
perfectly.
reach over and grab the wheel if you wanted to?
I don't think so. I think you could reach over, but I don't think it would do anything.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't think you could just save it from itself or anything. But it was very interesting, very cool. I do believe it will be the future. But right after we got out of that vehicle, then we went on another, jaunt somewhere else, and we had a driver that was a Lyft driver this time. And literally we went to a four-way stop, and this Lyft driver had to slam on the brakes to avoid a collision because this Waymo car literally ran this four-way stop.
Oh,
four-way stop thing. We almost got hit by a Waymo car right after we were in one. It was kind of freaky.
A Whammo.
But when we were That's a Waymo for sure. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. When we were in the Waymo, we were driving and there was a Waymo in front of us. So it was us and a Waymo in front of us. And then another Waymo in the lane over was in front of that. So there was like 3 Waymos on the road at the same time.
Man.
It was very weird.
What market was that? That San Francisco?
I did that in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
I just brought up that they're legendary. Everybody's kind of been to San Francisco or whatever and seen them or heard of them. And well, anyway, then right when I get home, I tell my wife, hey, we went in this Waymo. It was pretty interesting and pretty cool. And it was a tech thing. And of course, I loved it because I like to check out tech and, it's fascinating to me. And then she goes, did you see that news story? And I'm like, what news story? So the news story is that in San Francisco, they had a big power outage. I guess a power plant caught on fire or something like that, and they have this big, massive power outage. Well, all these Waymo cars were stuck at stoplights because the stoplights weren't working, right?
Oh,
so the Waymo cars didn't know what to do, man, and it caused traffic jams all over the city.
I did not see that. I saw the article about the power outage. Don't they know to just treat a traffic light that's out as a 4-way stop?
Well, obviously not, Jay. Should they know? Yes.
Time for a software update.
They halted the program. They don't know when it'll be turned back on. And they're like, yeah, we need to train our cars to deal with, stoplights out, treat them as a 4-way stop. I agree. That's exactly what needs to happen. But they didn't, I guess, plan for that contingency. So what you've got is these driverless beta vehicles running around.
That's a bug, right?
It's a huge bug. I mean, in the old days, when we used to have bugs in our software, if it was a big one, we called it a howling bug, right?
Now, are these things running on AI? Are they running on like some kind of a script, like programming?
My guess is they're running on a script.
Okay, because if it's AI, you should just be able to dump the driver's handbook into the thing and say, here, read this. You come into a problem, you should be able to figure it out.
I know what you're saying, but I think they're really, for the most part, on programs. And believe it or not, people that are smart, they're not just relying straight on AI for everything. The people that are the smartest, and I'll use an example.
Because AI goes off the rails.
Yeah. Guru is a private company that lets you put your work or business data in there. It's for companies, and you brand your company. So just say Sam Bushman Incorporated would get Guru and brand it Sam Bushman Incorporated. And so if you work for Sam Bushman Inc., you'd have all this stuff behind the scenes that could help all your employees just be powerful with knowledge about everything related to your company, software products, whatever it all is. The reason I'm telling you this is at the core of their thing is a wiki. And that wiki has cards, and you update cards, and then you can verify cards. And so the top knowledge is a verified card within a certain time frame, right? And then if you don't update it, it becomes eventually unverified. So you know that it's not as reliable because it's kind of aged information, et cetera.
Right.
Well, the smartest companies are taking that wiki and that card and that data, solid information that's reliable. They're adding search to that, but that's still not AI, right? Then they're adding AI on top of that and making it even smarter. So the reason I'm telling you this is back to the Waymo discussions. They've got, I think, programmed in, and they've got, I'm sure, maps and things that relate to their programming. Eventually, they're going to overlay AI on top of that. But it's got to start. You can't just let AI run amok on itself. You got to create these guardrails where it's like, how valid is information? Well, I'm going to first look up this card. What do I do when stoplights are out? Hey, you don't want AI to decide what it should do. It might just say, hey, I can bump up over the curb and go around this thing.
Right.
Or whatever. You want...
Come up with a unique solution.
Yeah, you want a card that's solid that says, no, look, the law is when there's lights out, you treat it as a 4-way stop. That's not just opinion, that's law, right? And that's the way that...
Yeah, 100%.
When you
it's in Florida anyway.
Yeah, it is all over the country. When you get a driver's license, you learn to understand these laws and obey them. And, okay, hey, what happens when a fire engine's coming down the road? Your job is to pull over and get out of the way. Well, the AI thing might say, I can outrun that dude. Right? I mean, come on. That's the smart thing to do, isn't it? Just stay
That'll
ahead
make for some interesting TikToks.
Yeah. All right, there you have it. Hang tight. You're watching Tech Watch Radio. I'm Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison with me. This Tech Watch Radio broadcast is brought to you by NetworkProvidersInc.com. When you want a friend in the tech business, think NetworkProvidersInc.com. Hang tight. More in seconds. Sam Bushman's experience in a Waymo vehicle, it was pretty interesting indeed, but we're also talking about they're not perfect and they're kind of in beta. And it's a little bit weird for them to be in beta but be integrated into society, driving all over the place. Seems kind of dangerous to me, but I guess to their, credit or whatever you want to say, they're doing pretty good and they haven't caused too many accidents thus far, and some weird things have happened, but I don't know any other way they're going to gain the real roadworthy, is that the right term? Experience.
Sam, everything's
they're
in beta.
Have to have.
Windows is in beta. Come on. Everything's in beta.
All
We
right.
operate in beta.
There you go. Anyway, this seems like a little more dangerous beta to me, but okay.
Right.
Anyway, it was pretty cool, and I do believe, though, this will be the future, Jay. I really believe over time, especially if they upgrade not only the vehicles and the intelligence in the vehicles themselves, but if they start to create AI traffic signals and create cars that can report back to other vehicles in line. And, when you start to get 5, 10, 15 overlapping indicators of safety or actions that need to be taken and stuff like that, I think it can start to become pretty good. I don't think it'll be perfect because, again, the electricity goes out and it's all south, right?
Yeah.
But I do believe it's going to get better and better, and I do believe it will be the future.
Well, I want to know what your take is on the cost. Do you think it was reasonable? I mean, I don't know how much it even cost.
There's some stories about this. So when we went and did it, it was like $12.
That seems reasonable. I mean,
That
it depends
was
on how far
reasonable.
you went.
Hold on. That was reasonable. But you compare that to, say, a Lyft and the same location or route, I guess is the best way to say it, on Lyft was like $10. Well, so why is it $2 more without a driver, Jay?
Yeah, that doesn't
how many
make
employees
sense.
and it's $2 more?
I understand the hardware may be more expensive and things like that, but if you're trying to push this thing out like a beta and get people used to it, you should be almost subsidizing it to a point to where it should be $6.
I understand. You're right. And so that's why I mean when you say it sounds reasonable, it is reasonable, but it's relatively.
I got you.
Okay. Now here's the next thing then. One evening we tried to go and we were going to do the Waymo the first time, and it came back and said $35. Well, we went and got a Lyft for $9.
That's that dynamic pricing, Sam.
It's either dynamic pricing or maybe everybody was getting one because it was like at nighttime and it was time for
Well,
people
that's
to
what
go
I mean.
home. Or
When the the usage is way up, then the prices go up to reflect it.
dynamic pricing, though, it could say, hey, this person's wealthy. We know that because we have all the data on their cookies and everything else. They've been buying nice Christmas presents, so we can charge them more. They got that pricing they're working on, too. So what it really is behind the scenes, I don't know. But all I'm telling you is when it was $35, then we got a driver for $9.
That's crazy.
I don't even know what to say. So anyway, that happened. And so we had a lot of interesting experience with it. And it was kind of fun and kind of scary and kind of weird and all at the same time. And we do have videos of it. And I'll try to see if we can't put something together for maybe next, at least kind of show you a little bit about it. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, or even a side channel thing, do it as a Tech Watch radio short,
Yeah, there you go. Great idea. All right. Anyway, we'll do that. By the way, people are frustrated with AI for a lot of reasons. I think AI is wonderful, and I think it's the future, and I think we just need to be realistic about our expectations is the problem. Okay? If you're threatened by AI when it comes to your job, don't panic and melt down because, we're told that it's just going to do everything. I'm telling you, they're overhyping it, overselling it, and that's what related to the .com bust back in the day. Okay? It's not that way. But it will slowly but surely become more intelligent. It'll slowly but surely find where it's successful and where it's not, and it'll eventually worm your way into your life, and eventually you'll be to the point where you can't see life without it.
Mm-hmm.
Think smartphone if you don't believe me.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So anyway, Justine Bateman, well-known, actress or bigwig or whatever you want to call it, famous person,
actress, yeah,
has vocally criticized the use of AI in media. She founded this thing called Credo 23. It's a council that certifies films and series made without generative AI. Credo 23 will host a film festival, they say, from March 27th to the 29th next year in Los Angeles. And Bateman describes generative AI as merely cycling vast amounts of existing content, which she equates to theft, Jay. AI's application in creating film, backgrounds, and simulated actors, such as the AI actress, I think it's Tilly Norwood?
Yep.
I think that's how you say it. I guess it's by Particle 6, so that it's this person that's not a real person at all. It's an AI person named Tilly Norwood. It's not even a real person at all. But they say it sparked controversy. They're criticizing AI for undermining human actors. They say it's a central issue during the 2023 Hollywood strike, emphasizing the significant impact on the industry. Now, here's my point, Jay. I appreciate the criticism, and I get the concern that, hey, it's just regurgitating stuff.
Right.
That's what they claim. But I disagree with that. It is not just regurgitating stuff. It is taking stuff, though, and repurposing it, repackaging it. But for the most part, that's all humans are doing too, Jay.
That's exactly right. You see this with artists and AI, and they have the same thing. They're like, oh, this is just redoing it or remixing it. But that's what humans are doing anyway. They're learning from other people's stuff. They're learning from Picasso or whoever and everybody else that they've been experienced to. And, and they're putting their own thing on it. AI is doing a lot of the similar things. It's hard. It's kind of hypocritical almost for Justine to be in this position and to be complaining about AI because it impacts her work and her thing so effectively. Or maybe it's exactly right because she is being impacted so much. I don't know, but it almost seems like a conflict of interest.
And I think everybody's being impacted. But let me just explain this. The smart people say, how can Justine use AI to make her even better?
Right.
Okay, so maybe she can, pump her scripts into AI and see what it comes back. Maybe she can, put information into, hey, I'm going to perform in this. What do I need to do to make myself more credible, more funny, more whatever the case may be?
Yeah,
and
or
AI
seller
can give
voice
you tips.
or whatever.
Sure, agreed. And so, but everybody just repurposes. And I'll give you proof of this, just something really easy that I think everybody can understand. If I play a piece of music, Jay,
mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, you can tell me what general time frame that music was in, right?
Yeah.
If I play something from the 30s and it's like, horns and whatever, and it's,
oh, yeah.
Okay, that's not a modern piece of music.
Or 80s synth or whatever. Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah,
kind of
or if I do
signature.
60s, it's all that echoey kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
If I do 70s, it might be quadraphonic and disco. And if I do, and you can even do that through country music. If you listen to old country, you hear Hank Williams, like, okay, that's way old country, man. Or if you hear 90s country, or if you hear modern country, it's a lot more rocky and a lot more edgy. And that just proves that everybody is just simply, standing on the shoulders of those gone before them. They say that a lot of rock artists or rock and roll musicians, hey, they got their founding from blues and from whatever, right? Jazz and everybody does this. So I think the criticism is unwarranted. What I think Justine or all these people should do, think about how you can build AI into your life that will make you the best you can be. And so I'm using AI in a lot of what we do. We use AI when we do an hour TechWatch show, we use AI to say, where would be the most cool clips that people might like for the clips and the shorts and stuff. And it helps us find those things that seem to do well. It helps us find the beginning and the end points of different things to where it's like, hey, I've got this little piece isolated and usable now. There's a lot of great way AI can be done. If you think AI is just going to take over the world and replace everybody, it won't.
Right.
It won't. I'm telling you, there's too much personality-driven uniqueness about people, and that's where you need to focus, okay? AI is not going to be able to give you the breakdown on the Waymo thing like I did. Just not possible. Is it going to tell you its own feelings and thought, along the way? No, it's not. When I was in the Waymo car, I felt a little bit apprehensive. I wasn't scared, but I was hesitant and apprehensive because it was my first time. And hey, man, we're talking about real road life and death kind of situations. That doesn't
I bet
go
you
well,
put your seatbelt on, right?
You're dang right, but it told me to. Okay. But I did, not because it told me to, but because you're right. That's natural. So I'm just saying that we need to look at AI instead of saying AI is going to replace me and take over the world. You need to come back and say, how can AI make me better than I am, smarter than I am, more together than I am? How can it remind me of things and organize things for me? How can it be this incredible assistant? So before the show, I literally, in AI, I said, hey, can you give me the top tech headline news? Why did I do that? Because I just thought, hey, man, it might have a story or something that I haven't seen. Just want to make sure I'm aware of it, right?
Right.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that AI is doing my show. AI just simply kind of reviewed the world out there last minute and said, yeah, hey, we need to learn to just realize AI has its place. And we need to slow down with AI and make sure that we're using it effectively, that we're using it, beneficially. Same thing with these mini PCs. When I told somebody they can get a mini PC, it's teeny, it's a little bit bigger than your hand. And they're like, can that really replace my desktop? Can that really? Yes, it can. Contrary to popular belief, mini PCs, comparable to former desktop PCs, they have impressive CPU speeds, lots of memory, tons of ports. The technological advancements are incredible. They're quiet, they're efficient, they're inexpensive. I mean, I can go on and on about it, but I'm telling you, they are incredible. Mini PCs are really getting better, faster, smarter, and a lot of them even can do graphic tasks like nobody's business.
Yes, they
because
are.
they have better video cards than we've ever had before. It's something to behold. All right, we're flat out of time. Thanks so much. NetworkProvidersInc.com is your partner for tech. NPITechGuys.com for the podcast. Spread the word, will you? Thanks.